Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie Oberg, and today we're going to talk about cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is a process of breaking down organic molecules such as carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins for energy. In shorter terms, this is how we obtain our energy. There are different types of cellular respiration. There's aerobic, which requires oxygen, and anaerobic, which does not require oxygen. Adenosine triphosphate, ATP. Energy is stored in the bonds of ATP. Because ATP is required for energy, it is often referred to as the currency for our biological systems. And they consist of three phosphate groups, a ribose and an adenine. Over here, it shows us the gamma phosphate groups, alpha phosphate groups, beta phosphate groups, and the other groups that are in the molecule. In referring to cellular respiration of Dr. Spencer's world-famous cupcake, in the cupcake is carbohydrates or sugars, which also we call glucose, which needs to be broken down, which is broken down through cellular respiration, through glycolysis, oxidation of pyruvate, and the citric acid cycle, an electron transport chain. In glycolysis, we have that it is anaerobic, meaning it does not require oxygen. It occurs in the cytoplasm of a cell. It requires 2 ATP molecules to begin. And it is responsible for breaking down glucose from its 6-carbon ring-shaped molecule into 2 3-carbon pyruvate molecules. And in here, the total produced overall is NADH molecules, 2 pyruvate molecules, and 4 ATP molecules. Although, because we used 2 in the beginning, it's a net yield of 2 ATP molecules. In oxidation of pyruvate, they are the product of glycolysis. And in the presence of oxygen, they enter the mitochondria of the cell and produce 2 acyl CoA molecules. They also release 2 NADH molecules along with a carbon dioxide molecule. And over here it shows us what we start with, the reaction, and what we end up with. It also explains what happens during this process. The citric acid cycle, also known as the Krebs cycle, after the oxidation of the pyruvates, the pyruvates are able to enter the citric acid cycle. This cycle also takes place in the mitochondria of the cell, and it contains redox and decarboxylation reactions. In this cycle, 3 NAD+ molecules are reduced to 3 NADH molecules, and 1 FAD molecule is reduced to 1 FADH molecule. We also produce 2 ATP or GTP molecules by substrate level phosphorylation, and it depends on the cell type whether we produce ATP or GTP. And then the electron transport chain. This is where most of our ATP is produced. The NADH and FADH2 molecules release electrons high in energy, which lead to the mass amount of ATP production, around 32 ATP molecules in this stage. And so the results of the cupcake. Through glycolysis, we had a net yield of 2 ATP molecules. And then in the citric acid cycle, Krebs cycle, we had 2 ATP molecules. And then the electron transport chain, we got around 32 to 34, normally a rough number, that are produced. So overall, we're resulting in roughly 38 ATP molecules produced through cellular respiration. The whole process right here kind of is summarized how glucose is 6 carbons, and then it is broken down into 3 carbons, and then it enters the Krebs cycle, and then the oxidative phosphorylation or the electron transport chain. That is the end of my presentation. I am sorry if I said names wrong, but I tried to remember how to say them correctly. And thank you for your time.